Hey, okay. I'm streaming on a Friday. Just gonna get a little bit of work done. Not gonna try too hard. Just, work casually, that kind of thing. Same as every other day this week. So that's all I gotta say. Just gonna hop to it. Hope anyone who's watching this video at any point live or in the future sometime on a VOD or anything like that, um, if you're interested in seeing this grow at all, if you like my style, if you like the ideas I've got going on here, but you want to see things improving, you want to send me some encouragement, anything like that, you can interact in chat, you could leave comments, follow, and share the channel around to people who you think might be interested. That kind of stuff is really helpful. And I don't intend to stop doing this. I just need to, get that snowball rolling down the hill a bit. So, looking spiffy. Sound a bit quiet? Oh, let's see here. Is this any better? Thanks. I, I've been, this whole year I've been in my apartment more, right? Yeah, good to go? Cool. How you doing today, Mike? Hope you're doing well. I'm wearing this just because I wear t-shirts and sweatpants pretty much 24/7 now. So slapping on a collar, it feels nice once in a while, you know? Feels good. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Doing well, got all the tickets closed, so you're kind of coasting for the rest of the day, picking at some other stuff. Hey, well, that's fantastic that you got all the important stuff done, right? Well, important. That's great. And coasting on a Friday afternoon, you know what? I feel like that could be justified. And having a nice stream on while you're doing it, I think is a good use of your time. I might be a little biased, but oh boy, I feel like coasting today too. Taking it nice and easy, Let's see here. Let's find the correct. Oh, let me see here. Let me just do this for a quick sec. I want to make sure I don't have. Sometimes I have tabs where I'm like, looking at emails and whatnot, and I try to close them all before the stream, but I don't want anything important to show up. So I do my best to close it all out. Let's see here. Looking good. For sure. How'd everything end yesterday? Oh yeah, not bad. I didn't stream for too much longer. I don't know. I'm not like some of those gaming streamers who could stream for 5+ hours a day. I tend to start petering out after, let's say, 2.5 hours. So I didn't stay for too much longer after you left, and I just was poking around with. I believe I was ending off with setting up some more advanced pattern fills for these designs here, and so I managed to get a little bit further on that than what was last stream. So these I think are starting to look pretty good. This one isn't done yet, that's just a filler. But things are coming along okay. As you can see, there's a lot to do yet, although some of these pinstripes are easy. Some of these are literally just copies. So this part is coming along nicely. You can see the fabric pieces have a pattern to them now. Legibility is still something to work out, but it's a big step in the right direction. So I'm really happy with that. This looks wild now. Pretty neat. Though it can look a little like that's a little distressing to look at almost. So looks really good though. Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm a little bit. I'm not 100% sure that this sort of thing is exactly right, but this is absolutely a step up from just solid colors. It helps differentiate things nicely. So I'm quite proud of that. So it's coming along pretty good. And then as for the 3D desk design, that's still over here. I haven't touched this one yet. So there's since yesterday, I should say. And I was thinking about a good way to do, like I mentioned briefly that I wanted to do a little sample of these triangles and stuff like that. So between these two things, I have something I can do, or two things I think I want to try. This one here, I want to, oh, this is just wrong on this one, but that's a different thing here. This here, I do want to try finish this pattern up, and then I want to go here, back to the desk, and I was kind of thinking it'd be cool to make like a little art piece as a test. So I was kind of thinking maybe do a letter or some cool silhouette shape of some kind, maybe an abstract piece, tessellate it, and then make over the weekend those triangles as a sort of model, just to see if the idea is worth executing. So I'll see if I can, you know, turn on my brain enough to be creative in that regard. So that might be kind of a fun thing to do there. But I'll start over here, just get this block done because it's staring at me like it needs to be finished. So that'll be the first part. But yeah, that's what's up with me. That's how I finished yesterday. So things are coming along, you know. Nice way to end the week, in my opinion. You know, as I continue living my life, I try to remind myself to take pride, like not being crazy proud, but just take a little bit of pride in the daily steps of effort and progress towards goals, you know? So even these little things that I'm really happy that they happen, you know? That is where I'm at today. There we go. Nothing wrong with that. Large tasks can be overwhelming. Yeah, they can be for sure. So like let's say 2 years ago, if I had told myself that, yeah, you're gonna be making a CAD, you're gonna be coding a CAD set of tools, and you know, to the level of completeness that it is now, there's still plenty of work to do, but I actually have a trajectory that I can think about and kind of follow as I go. But 2 years ago, I wouldn't have known, like that's such a huge task, right? How do you even know where to begin? You're absolutely right. The larger the task, the crazier it seems. Like it's like, well, I'll never be able to do it, right? And I mean, you know, that may or may not be true in some sense, but no matter what, you know, you got to work in this moment and just keep going at a task, you know. I used to work growing up in greenhouses, and on the weekends we would have to sweep the whole warehouse, the head house, and go through the back of the greenhouse and then to the back where the soil machines run to fill up the plants and everything. And the first time I had to sweep everything, it took probably 6, maybe 8 hours. But doing that all summer, I got it down to like 3 hours of clean sweep, good to go kind of effort. And I don't know, I didn't know it was like working, but it sure let me understand the sense of satisfaction in a job well done. And I do my best to find that feeling, you know, wherever I work. It's not about being perfect or quick the first time. It's about knowing, you know, oh, okay, this was a success. This is how I can make it even better, you know, that kind of thing. Man, it's like I've been streaming for like 10 minutes and I'm already pontificating. Man, I've got problems. All right. So the particular thing I'm working on here. So this is a part of a hex tiling. Technically, this tile. So I figured it out that to tile something so that it looks like repeated hexagons, you can slice it in a rectangular shape where you have these two part hexagons in the corners, but it has to be a rectangle of, so this is 2 inches and then this is supposed to be 3.5. It's just that the image is cut off to fit in the table here. So the full tile, the full tile of this is one hexagon here and a quarter hex shape sort of thing in each of the corners of the rectangle. And that, if you repeat it this way and repeat it down there, it ends up looking like a proper hexagon tile. But the reason I'm doing this is because I want to sort of replicate this fabric style here. And I don't need to be exact, I just need to have a representation that kind of seems legitimately close. So if I look at this image here, what I see is these gray dots in a, I'm going to guess that they're in a nice hex with a sort of bluish dot in the center. And then there's other colored flower bits sort of evenly spaced inside there. So I have the idea is I'm going to make a hex that has all of these different shapes sort of patterned on it. Just make it, what's it called, axis symmetric or rotationally symmetric, so that when you paste a hex over itself, it doesn't have bad edges, it can repeat. Anyway, I'm going to make a little function that makes one hex and then just put that function into there, and then it should, in theory, kind of come out looking a little bit like this. So we'll see how well that works, but that's the goal for the day, or for this particular pattern. So what is nice is these are little sort of flower bits that I've programmed in already. So I'm kind of just going to reuse bits of code there. In theory, famous last words. Yeah, you know what? My theories are fantastic, but my practice is always a little bit imperfect. Every once in a while, though, you strike gold, but... But that's the idea here. So the nice thing is with the hex, the way I've got it spaced out here, if I run the function regu text is read only. What's going on here? Sorry, REPL issues. There we go. So this function here, regular polygon points, if I give it some radius that I can change later, and a number of sides, it gives me just a list of points. So what I can do is just map the translation over the list of points for any shape. So it'll basically pattern a shape over the points. Oh, excuse me. And so I can I could just have 2 or 3 different polygon rings and just map the different flowers to the different spots. I think that makes sense. We'll go with that. So how am I gonna do this? What's the good? So I want a blue, I'm gonna have the blue flower piece as the center point. So that'll be nice and easy, I think. Okay, so I don't know why this one shouldn't be that way. I must have edited something incorrectly, but that's fine. Probably, it's probably fine. Okay, I'll just have a look at this one. Alice in Red, that's the thing I'm working on here. So, for the time being, this one here, I'm gonna do, oh hey, come on. Bots. I think it's been reported already. Spam. I know this is a bot account. Oh, he. Oh man, we just all three of us. Hi, Sayung B. How are you? Thanks for reporting, and Mike, thanks for reporting. I did it too. I feel like Twitch is gonna get the message on that one. Oh man. It's a little weird. So every once in a while, a bot will come in and you just ban it and report it, and I get emails like quite quickly from Twitch saying we took action on this. What I'm confused about is, yeah, it's been taken. So what I'm a little confused about is what, like, if I report a legitimate user and I say I think they're a spam bot or whatever, will that, like, is it an automated action? And then will the user have to somehow like, hey, this is not cool? Or is there something, like, I don't understand what's happening. It seems like it happens so quick that it's automated. And if it is automated, does it check in some reliable way? And if it does check in some reliable way, how is it possible that bot accounts can even function for longer than a single comment? It doesn't. I'm a little baffled by how it all works. I mean, I'm not going to complain. More or less things are working okay, but it's fascinating. Because I really don't think it's a real human sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, that looks like a bot," and then they're doing something. It seems automated, right? I'm sure it looks for keywords and odd characters that aren't part of the language that the chat is listed. It does a lot of the checking. Actually, that's a good point. It's a great point. And that's why it would be important to put the proper language that you're using, at least as much as possible. I'm sure there's multilingual streams where you can't necessarily narrow it down. But if they use characters from foreign languages to the chat you're in as potential bot filters, that could always be a problem for legitimate character users, right? I'm sure that's not a huge problem though. Or there are smarter people than me working on that kind of stuff if it is a problem. Either way, it was certainly a bot, and we certainly sent in reports nice and quick. Good job, team. Good job, team. Okay, so Yeah, so this here, I'm gonna make a little function called Allison Red Hex and slap that up over here. Actually, let me Allison Red Hex. I will go with that, sure. Okay. You know what? Actually, before I do a group tag, let's put a let here. There. And the first element to use, I'll do, it was a blue flower that I wanted to use, so I'll use the tiny blue flower. Clever names. I might want to scale it, so, but for now I'll just do this. So it's tiny blue flower right in the middle. So if I save this, this hex should disappear, and I should expect to see kind of just a tiny little bit of a blue flower at the bottom of this. Well, actually, it should be about here, I think. Ooh, I was off by like 7 pixels. So, you know what? Not too bad. Okay, so that is this here, and I just need boom, 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 boom. I need those. So I'll do it. Oops. I'll do let points be svg/rotate point, right? I have to clean that up. I've got 2 rotate point functions in different libraries that I should consolidate so that it makes sense, or so that it's consistent, right? That's okay for now, though. Again, svg/rotate point is a degree and then the point. So I'll go ahead and do that. I have to actually do it like this. We'll map v that rotate point. I want to shift the hex, like basically it's 30 degrees, so that instead of it being like this, it's like this. I'm just shifting which edges are vertical, that's all. And so you turn it 30 degrees to do that. And you map that over the points that come from f/regular polygon points. So for now, I'll just use a radius of 1. I can change that, and 6 points there. So those are the points about which to pattern things. So to do that, I'm going to do basically That's a smart way to do that. I'll just do it like this for now. Into G. I don't know, I don't love that, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. So I'll map. I don't need to map V that actually. I also don't think I need to map V this. I'll just map it. Doesn't make a big difference in this case, but it's fine. So here what I want to do is map translate point, translate to point the tiny white flower, which is not actually a function, it's just a definition. So that should nicely make copies of everything if I map that over points. I think that'll work. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So that's looking okay. Let's see if there's a, where is that showing up in the oh, that is peculiar. Oh, okay, here. I'm manually, I see what I've done. Oh boy. Let's close that for now. Okay, if I change the fill of this, okay, so it is indeed a hex. The radius is wrong because, so for these flowers that are really close to each other, they have to be exactly on each other. So I have to increase the radius a little bit, and I'm sure there's a way to get the exact number, but I am currently a little lazy and I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'm gonna eyeball it in a minute. I think it's like what would it be? It's like times 2 over, or times 3 over root 2 or something along those lines. So it's some weird decimal number anyway. So precision is not necessarily the goal. Or I should say I can afford to be imprecise in this instance because it is just a small pattern anyway. But boy oh boy, that's some strong justification for the real fact of me just being a little bit lazy today. That's the truth if I'm being honest. All right, so basically this radius, oh yeah, I need to, where's the real one here? Okay. I got to do myself one little favor here. All of these should be changed now to Allison Red Hex since it's more or less working. And then I can kind of clean it up from there. Oops. Okay. Now I also don't need the let statement here, so I can clean that part up. Ooh, wait, is that good or bad? I think it's fine. Whatever. The good old guess and check is the most precise method anyway. If not a little slow. If not a little slow. So here, see, I'm close, but you can tell that that is not a nice overlap. So, you know, honestly, on a good day, I would actually want to figure out the right calculation, but I just truly couldn't be bothered to do it exactly right at the moment. The other slight issue is, I think, I don't know what I think yet. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to that thought in a moment. The spacing and sizing of these things is always a little bit of a trick too. But that's okay. Right, so guess and check. It's gotta be a bit bigger. I'm getting there. Close. Ooh, even closer. Let's see if this overshoots it. Oh man. Okay, I think it's kind of around here. Okay, that looks pretty darn good if I do say so myself. We have a phrase around where I live, because there are a lot of government contract work that goes close enough for government work. If they're being inaccurate, I think you're good to go. Oh my goodness. So, you know, in all honesty, I think there's a real skill in discerning when pragmatism is safe and worthwhile, you know? Like there's pragmatism for getting things done in a reasonable time, reasonable cost, in a way that won't really be harmful. And then there's haste and negligence, which are kind of the other side of the coin, right? So I can't necessarily blame government work for doing that. I do wish sometimes things would be better. I mean, that's, wow, what a revolutionary statement. But you know, a level of pragmatism it's a hard thing to learn, I think, but I don't think it's without value, right? Close enough is sometimes good. I mean, you know, if you're launching, say, a rocket or something like that, your close enough should probably be within much smaller bounds than my close enough on a pattern for a piece of fabric, right? Like, these are different scenarios. Yeah, and I don't know enough about the government in your area to actually comment with any wisdom about it, so I won't put my foot in my mouth. No way, same level of precision or bust. Jeez. I'll be here all day. I'll use what's the so there's alternatives to floating point numbers, right? There's, for really large numbers, you've got big num. There's also so there's floating point precision, and fixed point precision, but that has certain ups and downs as well. You know, if you want to go like with actual real precision on a computer, there's a whole can of worms that I'm not capable of opening right now. All those different representations of numbers and stuff like that, it's fascinating, but absolutely not what I'm willing to do on a Friday afternoon. In particular, I think you might agree that this is pretty darn close for an overlap. I mean, I'm happy with that. So now the next sort of bits to work in are these sort of grayish pink flowers kind of filling in all those gaps there. I think that makes sense to kind of piece those in there now. I also think I might want to scale up the blue dot in the middle just to fill the space a little bit. Ooh. Man, I did leg day yesterday, squats and stuff, and I tried to go a little bit heavier on my deadlifts on Tuesday, and it's all great, like form was all good and everything, but I still feel those muscles today. It's a good reminder, you know, you're always in just a slight amount of discomfort when you go to the gym. Not pain, but like I've used these muscles recently kind of discomfort. I hope that makes sense. I'm perfectly fine. No need to worry. I just, anytime I move, I feel it, you know? I did upper body and I'm in the same boat. Can't pick up anything heavier than paper. Are you talking like a big ream of paper? Because you know what, you've got sympathy from me on that one. No, I know what you mean. I love the feeling, you know, if you do an upper body day, single sheet. Man, you pushed hard then. You must have gone hard. After a really nice chest workout day, so, you know, bench press, push-ups, getting a bit of shoulder work and arm work in there too. The feeling of not being able to get stuff out of an upper shelf, like with any amount of confidence, is hilarious. And like, it's like demoralizing and makes you proud at the same time, you know? It's like, wait, all it takes is a little bit of activity and then I'm down for the count for the day? What's up with that? But it means you worked pretty hard, usually. It just is really a funny visual to me. Okay, so these points will be, ooh, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. The first thing I was gonna do is actually scale this up just a bit, so. Just do this. Scale 2. That's probably too big, but we'll start with that. Oh no, scale moved. Why did it do that? I'm not a fan of that one. I think my scale implementation is broken because I don't normally use it. I'm not sure why it did that. That's a shame. All right, well, let's see. Mike, do you have a home gym or something like that, or do you go to like a gym membership kind of place? Or if not a home gym, like equipment in your house or something like that? Why did that do that? Does this have to be like that, maybe? Man, I don't know why that happened. Yeah, I got a great deal on a squat rack and free weights. That with a couple of dumbbells does the job for what I need. Can't lift too heavy, don't have a spotter, but you can work out well enough. Yeah. I mean, well, that's fantastic. Squat racks and weights and stuff are, from what I know, like pretty expensive right now because of, I mean, the condition of the world and the state of gyms being open and stuff like that. So that's nice. It's really great. And yeah, you know, when you don't have a spotter, you go lighter and do more volume kind of thing. But yeah. Well, every once in a while, it's nice to lift heavy. So you know, hopefully you can get a spotter soon at some point. But that's great. It is nice to have everything you need, right, to kind of keep up the habit sort of thing. 300 for the rack? That's a deal. Absolutely a deal. You know, I bet you could, I'm not saying you should, but you could probably even sell it for a profit, you know, even at this point. $300, wow. Nice. You don't want to pass that one up, not even a little bit. So why did the scale of this go all weird? Oh yeah, I can't inspect that part directly because my laziness is causing me problems. All right, instead of that, we'll do let's do the midpoints of these next. So the points of these will have a set of midpoints for every so midpoint is nice and easy to get, right? Then so midpoints is just going to be map f/midpoint. Yeah, that'll work over the list of partition by 2 step size of 1 of take inc count points from cycle points. I think that's right, and I think I need to put that into an actual function because that's always unruly. Oh, and then of course I actually want to put stuff on those points, so let's copy this line. Tiny red flower. Oh, I think it's actually pink flower, not red. Let's see here. Oh, not quite right. Not quite right. Why is it that? Why? Oh, didn't change the points it was using. Come on, brain, come on. Easy. Hey, look at that. Okay, that worked. So that's the midpoints there. So all I'm doing is kind of, from this center point here, we've got the kind of whitish gray ones. It kind of looks like between those, there's a pinkish flower there. Now I want to fill in a ring around the inner part there with pink, and that might be good enough for this pattern. So we'll see how that goes. And maybe the inner, no, I kind of want to make the flowers in all of these just that a bit bigger. Problem is these aren't functions and the scale isn't working the way I thought it would. So I could either fix the scale implementation or make new functions for the size of these. I'm not really a fan of any of those options at the moment, but probably looking at how I did scale is an important thing to do, because I actually don't know if I ever bothered to implement it in an intelligent way, or if I did it, I don't even remember how I did it, I guess is the right way to say that. So let's fill in the gaps a little bit here with eye points. And I will also go ahead and make a function out of this because it's a little unruly. So I'll take that and I'll do make a function line segments from, and it takes a list of points, and I'll put that function up here. Oh shoot, I'll have to move this bit further up, which is fine, really, not a big deal. Okay, here, define line segments, taking points. Oop. And let's just make sure that that's actually correct. So partition 2, 1, take increment of count points, cycle points. So what this function is doing, for a list of points, which I assume is going to be like it's an ordered list that will create a polygon, to get the line segments of it, if you partition a list into sections of 2 with a step size of 1, you'll get point A, then point B in the first partition, and then B and C in the next, and then C and D, D and E, E and F, etc., until the end, with the exception of, in the case of a polygon, you want, oh, this technically has a one problem. Does it? Yeah. So this should be polygon line segments, which maybe I do have a function for that. But the reason there's a cycle points here is, so the Clojure function, if I take 5 of a list 1, 2, 3, it'll only take 1, 2, 3. But if I take 5 from cycle 1, 2, 3, cycle will just infinitely repeat the list. Once you get to the end of it, it'll give you back the first item in the list forever. So if you cycle a list of points and you take from it one more than the list of points, what you end up with is the list of points plus the first point also at the end again. And that's necessary if you want all of the line segments to close a polygon. The issue is that's not true if you give it a polyline, right? A polyline, you don't want to cycle the points, you just want to partition the points directly. So that's why I put polygon here. I don't know what's better, to make 2 distinct functions or to make one function that has a flag for closed or open. I honestly, I don't know. So because this is just the idea in general for this bits section is any kind of functions that I think are like helpers or useful, but I don't know if they're worth putting in the main library. I put them in here as I need them for this document. And then as I finish projects, all of the code in the bits section can go into a review to see if 1, I've duplicated the functionality elsewhere, 2, if I actually used the function, 3, if it was extremely useful, and then I can, then I can decide where to put it in actual libraries for future use. But it's also nice to leave the functions in the document that I first used them in, so that if I open up an old project later on, I don't break everything about it. At least that's yet again, in theory, that's what I'll be doing. But in practice, maybe things break anyway. But that lets me do things like this. Since I don't know the right way to do this in general yet, like I don't know which way I prefer, I'll just do it the first way that comes to mind. And then as I'm putting this stuff into the review cycle, I can actually make an informed decision. I think that makes reasonable sense. So here, instead of so I actually just do this for line segments. For a polyline, you just partition 2 by 1 points. It's a very simple function. And this is why this is almost not worth writing, because it's such a, well, in fact, this is fewer characters than the name of this function. Right? So it's, I don't know. Sometimes it's not perfect, but for a bit of consistency, I think this is worthwhile. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to handle that. I think what I've decided is fine for now. The other thing is I pretty much never work with polylines directly like that. I'm more interested in drawing polygons so that I can fill them and stuff like that. So might not be a big issue at the moment. the other thing is, maybe it's time to look at, instead of just passing vectors of points around, it might make sense to start passing around, enriched maps. So I could kind of type the point set. I could tag it with polygon or polyline up front and then dispatch a multi method on the tag key or something like that. But that might be more complicated than I need it to be. All of these things I worry about but have no clear answer for. Always, anyway. But these are things I think about off stream too. Okay, I'm scrolling too far down now. Don't need that here. Don't need that, don't need that. Nor that, nor that, or that. And where was I? Got me monologuing. I'm my own worst distraction. I was further up even than this. Oh boy. Nope. There we go. There it is. Okay. Boy, oh boy. My apologies. That would be here. Finally back to it. This is now called polygon. I should probably just call it polygon segments and polyline segments, right? It's a shorter name. That works for me. Okay. Oh boy. Oh, what? What did I mess up here? Okay. Oops. Undeclared var. Even number of forms in the binding vector. Oh, I defed something incorrectly here. That seems fine. That seems fine. Oh dear. I've confused myself. Why doesn't it say what line that's on? That would be helpful. Ugh, all right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a coffee for a second. Okay. Missing a closing parenthesis somewhere. Yeah, almost certainly that is what's happening here. Just a matter of finding it. I think my weekend project is to force myself to learn par infer and or par edit, and force myself to enable that in my Emacs here, so that I just sit down and actually learn how to use it properly, so that I don't have these silly mistakes. Because that's what it is, silly. What? Empty entry? I'm freaking out a little bit here. What happened? Did I just delete everything? What's going on here? Okay. No. What is happening? No further undo information. Okay, fantastic. This should not be an empty entry. Okay, I'm gonna close this and not save it. Just burn the whole thing down. Because I don't know what Emacs seemed to be glitching on me, unless I misunderstood something. Or not Emacs, org mode. I don't know, that shouldn't have been an empty entry. Hopefully this, hopefully I can get this back. Let's, no, not there. Let's put it here, sure. This thing, stick you here. Okay. Did I have this one on source control? Yeah, I do. I just don't remember how far back it went from the last time. So I'm not too worried, but I don't understand what happened. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, wait a second. Did it? Oh, okay, wait. That's weird. I don't know how I ended up doing that, but yeah. Okay, now we're good. Okay, I have no idea how I managed to goof that one up so badly. All of these headings, I ended up shifting under the bits element here. And I thought that they had been deleted somehow, so that's why I closed it and restarted just to see if that was fine under a save there. Okay, well the code isn't missing, so that's a good thing. Maybe that was the whole issue, is things were just ordered incorrectly and it couldn't actually compile properly. Really strange. You know, it's entirely possible I just fat-fingered a bunch of things and just swapped things around like crazy. That is my bad. You know, so in general, I like the idea of my workflow, like the code and notes kind of all together. But this is an example of a weakness in my approach. So there's some things to work on this weekend, that's for sure. See if I can come up with something. Man, things are falling apart on me today. Okay, well, just go like this, close that one, it's gone too. What did I do wrong now? Oh, I typoed something, I guess. There we go. What a time to be alive. Yeah, you know what? I'm completely willing to say all of that is just my own mistakes. I don't want to blame it on glitching of the system because there's a reasonable chance that it was actually something I did and just didn't notice. Poor craftsman blames his tools, etc., etc. All right, but now, the moment of, now I have to make this thing compile so that I can get errors on here. You know what? I think this week I've been off the rails more than I've been on them. Okay. Let's go all the way down here. You know what? Let's just make this. Let's just make it say hang in there. Okay. That should compile, right? Let's just restart this again for safety. Oh, wrong one. Okay. Good. Get that REPL going. You can do it. There we go. Yeah, okay. Failed to compile, no problem. I just have to compile it. All right, so okay, now I just have to focus on actually fixing the let binding issue that I'm seeing here. So let's go ahead and try to figure that one out. Okay, so let requires an even number of forms in the binding. Yeah. Sorry for the struggles today. They're just happening. All part of the process? Yeah, you're right. You are correct. Okay. All right, let's just kind of walk my way through some of this stuff. Okay, here we go. This is it. I missed this here. This needs to have a definition here. That's what's going on. Allison read hex. That's where the issue is. Okay. Boy, oh boy, sorry about that. Modified, kill anyway. Yeah, that's going to be overwritten anyway. All right, so here it's the style. So this is a bad habit of mine sometimes. I sometimes hop around between functions, you know, like I'm writing this and then I think of something that I have to write somewhere else. For example, polygon segments. And then I scroll away and save, but I didn't complete the work here, right? So this is now complete, and that should now compile. Now I've got to figure out how to run Figwheel here. Yeah, good parenthesis library for Emacs will fix it. Just a matter of setting it up. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna commit to that being a thing I do this weekend. It's a little silly that I waited this long even, so I'll just force the issue. It'll be a little frustrating initially, but then I'll just get used to it and it'll be better. That's absolutely how it's gonna go. So it's on the list. On the list of actual things to do actually, fixing up my Emacs editing experience is the top priority. My list of actual things to do actually. Okay. Now, how do I run? Ow. Start builds. I guess. Let's see. I think this will work. Figwheel main / start builds dev. Is that gonna work? Emacs is still hard for me. Yeah. You know what? Saying B. One of the reasons I've not added certain features like the parentheses thing is I like Emacs, but how do I say it? I don't want to necessarily accrue more and more and more plugins that over time, you know, if this small little thing it gets deprecated or is unmaintained and it breaks and I didn't know how it was working and I didn't know that it was dependent on this and this and this, you know, and then maybe a package I install later breaks something else. I feel as if the more things I try to put into my Emacs experience, the more potential issues there could be and the more friction I could feel doing it. So my approach has been to find one theme that I like quite well, that is easy to install, that doesn't require me to download extra stuff. Pick a font that looks nice, but don't be so, you know, don't hold it so near and dear that if you can't easily install it on some other system, it's a problem. And then otherwise, I keep it as simple as I can. Like I learned the basics of org mode manipulation and syntax, and all that to get exactly to the level of functionality that I wanted without going overboard. Of course, that's extremely subjective, but that for me is like basically I took a bulldozer to the learning curve by kind of refusing to add a bunch of complexity onto my Emacs. But I don't blame you for still thinking it's a whole lot, because it absolutely is. Sounds like you have a good strategy for maintaining Emacs settings. It's a simple approach. I'll say it that way. I would imagine, so, pros and cons to most choices you make. I would imagine one of the downsides to my approach is that I do probably miss out on some power features, just out of an abundance of caution, But on the whole, I think, I don't need to type faster. The bottleneck in all of my coding process is my own brain anyway. So I feel like a ton of plugins wouldn't really, I can't install something on Emacs to make this work better, So, some people might actually argue that, but I feel like my strategy works okay. It's probably not the best for everyone, but it works all right. Yeah, you're more installing everything at once, and then you get exhausted troubleshooting. Yeah, it's so not fun to do. I've read it about Vim as well. A generally good approach to learning those things is customize to what you want and need, right? But never so far away that on a completely fresh computer you couldn't relatively easily figure your way around Vi, for example, right? So you could take a fresh Vim install, customize it like crazy, and no one else in the world will know how to use it except for you, which is not bad, right? But if you could, in the reasonable future, end up working on a device that doesn't have your customizations ready to go, suddenly you've got the world's most narrow knowledge of literally only your setup, right? And so your capability is decreased. So if you keep close-ish to defaults, it seems like you can kind of keep that wrapped up in your brain. And generally, there's a little less troubleshooting. I mean, the truth is, if you're going to go with old school editors, Emacs, Vim, other terminal-based approaches, they're extremely powerful, but you kind of have to be pretty picky and pretty particular, or really roll with the punches, I'd be in trouble if I tried to use a basic Emacs, but I have my file saved so I can get my settings and auto-install them so long as I have internet. Yeah, that's the counterpoint to what I'm saying is, I mean, if we're all being reasonable here, it's quite unlikely that you're in a situation like that. So I'm totally willing to accept your solution as completely valid. But that's the thing. For whatever reason, I like to not drift too far from default settings as long as they make sense. Or as long as I could easily remember how to do them, But, to each their own, right? I don't blame anyone for changing stuff because, I mean, why not? It's a computer. You can theoretically do whatever you need it to, so why not? Part of me is just not interested in troubleshooting all day, right? And that's maybe more a me problem than an Emacs problem, right? Anyway, I know VS Code is quite popular now because it has a ton of extensions that are quite easy to install. I would say probably easier than Emacs, and with pretty good consistency in how they interact with each other. I've used VS Code before as well. So, you know, there's good modern choices for things. All right, I don't know how to properly do this, so I'm actually just gonna do that again. One thing I've never tried is, oh, what is it? IntelliJ. I hear that's a really nice IDE. That might be fun to try one time, but I don't really need to. Well, now what's going on? I'm losing my mind. I'm using IntelliJ, but the cursive plugin's not free. It's not? I actually didn't know that. Oop. So I'm not I'm not opposed to paying for tooling, but if I'm just trying to do it on a whim, I feel like it's not worth necessarily paying for. I didn't know that cursive actually costs money. Use it for work as well. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. Feels bloated. Oh yeah? Okay. There we go. It does for sure, but you find it easy for file navigation. Yeah, file nav, that is consistently the thing I feel the most clunky when I'm doing development of any kind. Like, the single thing that I love the most about also looking for git blame been annoyed by file nav because it's having trouble indexing and searching for files. Man, it drives me nuts when there's a search bar that you should be able to type things in and do an extensive search through your file system, and it just sits there and chugs because it hasn't indexed things appropriately. It's like, well, don't even show me the search tool then, you know, if it's gonna sit and do that. That's frustrating. All right. All right, can I actually get this thing working? I'm sure I can. Eventually. Fig wheel. Fig wheel main, please. Select the build, dev. You can do it. Thank you for the encouragement. Yes. We got it. Oh my goodness. Wow. What a show. Oh man, thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you. All right, now let's see if I uncomment the actual document here. Can I get some visuals, please? Visuals. We have recovered. Pop the champagne bottles developments back on. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Oh. Whew. Are you feeling a little hot under the collar here? Hey, you know what? Part of me is embarrassed, but the other part of me is like, you know what? This is like, I feel as if this kind of stuff could actually be encouraging for, you know, new developers or even anyone to see. It's like, oh yeah, even people who talk about programming and do it in front of people all the time, or regularly I should say, mess up. You know, it's like, it's not about being perfect, right? I could certainly attest to that. Man, oh man. All right, I feel good that I have something to work on again. Boy, oh boy. All right, but that is 100% yo, do these things. Try par edit, try par infer, must stick to one of these, or similar. What's that called? Semantic editing. Setup. This is important to prevent paren issues, the embarrassing kind of problems. There. Okay. All right, so where was I now? Oh yeah, I was gonna kind of fill in the color spacing here a little bit. And then I was gonna mess around with the 3D model for my desk. I've whittled away a lot of my time, unfortunately, so I'll just have to see how far I get, but you know what? It's a Friday, it's okay. I'll take it. Okay, so I was doing that in here. What a mess. This is a work in progress of a little rabbit animation. It looks really silly because it's a trace from a pixelated snapshot of this here, this little rabbit thing here. What I was attempting to do is trace this, get a rough thing of it that I could put in the into that particular pattern, but I haven't got that working yet. So that's it's there as a start. It's work in progress, but that is also why I went and hid that like that, because it's getting in my way. Okay. All right. Eye points, please. Let's get this show on the road. Oh, no, even that's not quite correct. We got to do this. What did I just do? That's wrong. Entirely wrong. There we go. Okay. Whew. So this particular one is just going to be this, the eye points, and I'm gonna guess the radius to be 0.75. That should fill in a little bit of color here. Oh, I need the pink flower though, please. It's pretty good. There's not enough coloring in this section here, so I kind of want to do one more ring. But this is even more densely packed than that, and I don't want to go overly detailed with it. I just want it to be a representation of this particular pattern. So I want things to be kind of even, but not overly complicated. So if I just do one more kind of ring inset here, that's probably going to be pretty good, I think. So to do that, I'll do inner midpoints, because that's even one ring in. This is going to look weird. Actually, let's see here. I'll just do it. I'll do it this way. So it'll be regular polygon points at some radius. I'm going to do 0.5. It's probably good. But I don't actually want the points on the polygon. I want all of the midpoints. So to do that, I need to do polygon segments of that list of points. Then I need to map that through f/midpoint. And that should be the right set of points to map things over, I think. And then this can be my endpoints, and I kind of hope that fills in right here. Oh, close. Not quite right, though. What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't rotate them. I need to rotate it here by. I need to do this first. Map. A little hard to read these sometimes, eh? Rotate point 30. That should fix that up now. Yeah. Okay. Whew, that's looking. So the spacing's a little off, actually. So how do I want to fix that? Well, I guess this. Let's just mess around with the radii a little bit here. So that radius can go up to that. I am just pulling these numbers out of thin air, so it's just a matter of visualizing it. You know? Better, not quite what I need though. Maybe pull those ones in. Yeah, halfway between. Okay, you know what? That looks pretty good. I need to resize the work a little bit here. I also don't have them on any pieces yet. So I just need to visualize it on something for a minute. Let me just change this. It's not bad. Right? This is what I'm trying to replicate a little bit. This is a little too dark. So I need those, need things to be a little bigger. The other thing is, I could either make them a little bigger, or I might just, this background color, I might just whiten up a little bit. That might fix that too. And no, you know what? Let's make this, let's do it right. Let's do a little bit bigger. That is satisfying though. That it does tile like a hexagon is really nice. Worth the effort, if I do say so myself. So I think all I need to do is just bump the radius of all the flowers here just a little bit, which I'm gonna do the lazy way. All of these. Ooh, boy, I should split into a little section here. Just make them that'll be good. Now I just oh, you know, probably I should put them next to, should at least kind of keep them grouped together, and probably add subheadings here to clean up the organization of this just a bit, because this is starting to turn me loopy here. Tiny flowers. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do that. Whoop. Tiny flowers. Leaf. Leaf and rings. Hex flower patterns, pattern. And here I paste the mediums, and I can work on that by doing, whew, here we go, medium, okay. Oh, which actually, if I want to be a little bit consistent here, I should name this hex pattern, and this should be medium flowers, not tiny, or yeah. And that one I can pop up to right next to this one. So this is what I love org mode for. You can easily split code blocks, put headings on, and pop the code all over the place. I really do like that. And you can, so the way this is set up, it's all getting saved into one giant main file, but I could call this hex.cljs and actually save out that code block specifically to a different source. So, you know, there is some nice functionality built into using the org mode setup like this. So I do like that stuff. The mistakes are just a little tedious when I make them, which happens. Rabbit. A lot of rabbit stuff coming up with these with these quilt patterns. Pattern defs. There we go. Okay, that's a bit of order in the chaos. Just enough order that I think I could navigate it a little bit better. So now that the medium flowers are referenced here, I can actually mess around with the diameters a little bit. So we'll start here. I want the pink and blue to be the same diameter. You know what? Maybe they should all be the same. Well, they're already not the same, which is fine. Yeah, let's just start here. This might be too big, but see how that looks. Ooh. Did I not set it up properly? Oh, here we go, medium blue. Hey, a tiny difference. My head's working on how, you know, in the future I could come up with better ways to do pattern defs. Maybe have a like a little web interface for a pattern def tool that lets you set a grid block, lets you edit the particular grid, and then it shows you live the result of it being tiled in a certain way. And then you can adjust sliders on the zoom and all that kind of stuff. That might be better than what I'm doing right now. And then I could have non-programmers doing their own pattern design approaches. That might be pretty cool. Stuff to do, stuff to think about. Okay, so I kind of like that size. Let's give it a shot here as well. Let's see if it looks okay. It should be fine. Should be okay. I'm kind of happy with that. Let's bump this one up just a little bit as well. Might want to shore up the current code base before making external tools. Oh yeah, totally. I'm thinking ahead here. You are 100% right. There's a lot of work to do yet. Specs, tests, getting to a non-prototype setup of all the libraries. I'm not trying to rush ahead here. There's a lot of work to do, but I like to think about the future as well. No, you're completely right pointing that out. I am not, well, I might be naive, but I'm not naive about the amount of work still ahead. It's kind of okay. You know what? I'm happy with that. I think it looks pretty nice. Okay, now, before I flip over to the desk design thing, because the next color to do is, where'd it go? Allison Blue here. I should only have to kind of switch around some color defs. So that seems pretty important. Hey, Pablo, sorry, it took me a second to read your name there. How are you doing? Welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're having a good time. Good, and you? Yeah, I'm doing really well. Nice casual Friday afternoon. I had some compile errors earlier on due to my own silly mistakes, and I managed to fix those, so I'm actually able to write a bit of code again, so you know that's helpful. Having a fun time just talking and chat with people, you know, so I'm in a good mood. Well, what brings you here, Pablo, if I may ask, if I may be so bold? Okay, Allison Red, copied. Allison Blue. Okay, so that is referencing the new thing, currently unchanged, but it's the right next step. And now here, J needs that color, which I'll fill URL hash Allison blue. Oop. Hey Pablo, do you know anything about Clojure and Clojure script? Just curious. All right. Oh, wait a sec. I need to go here. Allison blue. Let's try to. Okay. This here should have a blue background, and then I just, oh, sorry, wrong one. This one. And I just need to swap the blue and pink flowers. Oh, you know, the blue background color is a little off though. That would be this one. Okay, the blue is actually darker than I thought. 60, 60, 90 instead. So let's do that. 60, 60, 90. Yeah, that should be good. Rokadoke. And medium pink flower. These ones are all blue. All right, let's see how that looks. That's okay. You know what? I can tweak those later. That is looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. There it is, actually being referenced there. Looks nice. Cool. Okay. I don't think, oh, there it is on the borders of that. Okay, it's coming together. I think this one sticks out the most as kind of the weirdest looking. So I might tweak that, but it's looking okay otherwise. This looks nice. Pretty readable, I think. Yeah. All right. I feel like that's a good win. Pretty good win. Review bits sections from desk. Diamond point table top. Diamond point lap size. Specs and tests. Start for Forge and SVG. Forge and Stylo libraries. Do one test for each library per day. Just get things started. Will be a necessary milestone before I can ever release a V1 of these libraries, so it's critical. There we go. All right. I'm gonna call it for these. Most of these have good looking patterns on them. There's just a few little bits and pieces here. These are not gonna be too hard either. At least I hope. Shouldn't be really. Let's just have a look at this LC red one. It's kind of an interesting shape. Basically, I'm gonna do red. I think I'll just do kind of ovals and circles. That'll pattern okay. So that's nice. I'll just go with that. And here now, oh yeah, now I have to launch a new REPL. That's nice and good. So let's go ahead and find that desk design again and mess around with that for another half hour or so. Yeah, seems good. Okay. REPL type. Dev build. Let's close the color meter now. It's a little distracting actually. Probably should have done that earlier. Oops. Just wait for that to compile. Connect to the browser. I left this in a working state, so it shouldn't break until I start messing with it. Boom, there it is. Okay, so what's good? What should I do? Checking if I pulled in. I did not. Oh, right. Okay. I think I want to pop open one more library here. The tracing library. Yeah. This one, I'm just going to launch just a Clojure REPL, not a Clojure script one, because it does some file manipulation, which is just a little easier to use the built-ins in Clojure than it is to mess around in Clojure script. So I will do it that way. Nope, not what I meant. Nope, also not what I meant. What is going on? There. That's what I needed. There we go. Okay. This one. Okay, good. good. All right, so I'm gonna close that out of the way there. These two are linked, the left and right here. This is this document here. This is the 3D desk design thing. And this here is a different little library that lets me extract traces from my iPad drawing, which I want to try and use to make a file that I can pull into here and render with the Delaunay triangulation, because I want to make a cool art shape as a test for the weekend. And I'll see how that goes. So that's all that's happening here. So in order to do that nicely, what I would like to do is load up this code, load file. It's in a main. Give it a second. Enter the namespace here. Okay. All right, so this function here, this sketch function, pulls in whatever sketch.png happens to be. And I'm gonna just pull up a nice simple one. Well, I'm gonna make a nice simple one briefly. Oh, which actually, here, I can do it here. Background color white, please. Okay. I have an old glove so that I don't like smear the screen when I'm when I'm drawing. It looks ridiculous, but it works quite well. Okay, so all I need is a new layer here. And a black pen. Nope, black pen, please. Okay. What's a cool shape that I could trace? Let's just start with the thing that is silly but obvious. A really poorly rendered, a horribly, horribly rendered A. Okay, so I should be able to pull that in and trace it, but first I should actually make it not look so horrible. Okay. You know what? That for the purposes of right now, that's beautiful. It's not, but it'll be good enough. So here, I just have to share it up to there with my hacky remote share tool, which is literally just a iOS shortcut script that runs an SSH shell script. That's all it does. Or I should say it runs a shell script through SSH onto this computer. So it's very built for this purpose and this purpose only. But now I should be able to pull this sketch data and bring it into the desk design document one way or another. I'll do it the good old-fashioned lazy way for now, and later I'll probably make it so I could transfer it with like an Eden file or something, but copy and paste will work for now. Right, so shapes from pictures, please. I'll just run this one. Ooh. Really? Oh, here. This is why. Have to eval that and then run this. And then I can go nav to, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. That's the squirrel. Desk.svg should be the letter A. It is indeed. Okay, so now with that, I could actually just take, if I just run the, if I run this, that should make a huge list of points, which is exactly what I need. And if I spit that into the file, design desk, what do I call it? Art dot Eden. That should work, I think. I think I can make this work. Sketch. Ooh. No such file or directory, huh? Oh, I guess it works only in relative file path, eh? So to do that, then I would need to do so if I spit it directly into the main folder, I want to go, if I do this, that's now into the dev folder. And if I go back out again, it's home. And then this should, maybe this will work. Let's try that. I think it worked. Hopefully that's the right spot. So now, if I go into design/desk, oh wait, but, right, I don't have, in the Clojure script side of things, I don't really have a nice, I can't do this easily anyway. But I would like to see if I was actually in the right spot here. Is there art.eden? There is. That's pretty cool. Okay, so instead I will just, so that's theoretically the right way to do it, except I forget how to implement slurp and like the file read and Clojure script, and I don't want to do it when I can just quickly do this little bit of dirty work here. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. That can work, right? Maybe. The A shape is a whole bunch of lines, right? Right, so, okay, oops. Now this A shape exists, theoretically, anyway. Okay, so count A shape 2. Right, so, let's draw a little thing up here where I want to try triangulate that. There, for now that's fine. Okay. Okay. Good, good. There, let's start with that. And this component, well, I shouldn't have it up here with the rest. I should kind of have the scratch thing down low there, maybe in the components section directly. That would make the most sense to me. Okay, components, part views, scratch. Okay, that can work for me for the time being. And here, part views. Okay. Okay, let the object be the I don't actually need the object shape right now. I just want to get that set of points rendered to see if it's going to make sense. Points to be first from A shape. That should be the outline, or maybe it's the inner area, I don't know, but I'll get there. And here I just want to, that's the drawing, svg/polygon. Need to do points, svg polygon, svg style the element, fill, none, stroke, black is good. Let's put that in the dock and render it at the top here. See if that'll work. it didn't fail, but I don't see. Oh, it's probably too big. Yeah. The polygon itself has huge dimensions. Yeah. Oops. Gotta shrink that one down a little bit, which I believe I have a function for here. Yeah, resize. So I should resize this to 10. It's a little weird looking. Right, there's also, yeah, that. Well, let's do this. So these are resized to much smaller numbers. They're currently in fractional form, which I might have to coerce, but that's fine. I can work with that. Let's get those in there instead. Just doing that. I don't know how to fix this yet, but the org mode syntax for links is double square brackets like that. And if you make a nested list of vectors or a nested vector of vectors, it often will, you could accidentally click a link in the body. It shouldn't happen, but it does, and I haven't figured out why yet. So I have to fix that. But here, I do need to drop last, right? Yeah. Okay, it doesn't quite work. Not a valid Clojure script constant. Wait a second, is that? Really? Clojure lang ratio. Huh. I'm surprised that that didn't work. Okay, well that just means I'll mess with that in the Clojure side instead. So, okay. Map v drop last. Over first from sketch. Right, and then def ASDF is resize to 10 ASDF. Oops. All right, I'm gonna go to the washroom for a minute and I'll try to fix this when I'm back. Oh, hey, Seyoung B, if I missed you, well, hopefully I didn't quite miss you. Have a good time. Have a good weekend. Thanks for tuning in for a bit. I appreciate that. Might have missed you, though. Sorry about that. Either way, hope the weekend's nice. All right. That is good indication that I should get going myself soon, but I don't quite want to yet, to be completely honest. Hey, welcome back. Had to hop on a work call. What did I miss? I'm not quite sure where you tuned in last. I moved on from these patterns here. These were the last two I finished. I think they look pretty good. They look nice on the actual fabrics. They're being used here, for example, and here. And then I'm working on the desk here. And like I said, I was gonna come up with a little sample to work on this weekend where I could actually try to bend and weld the triangles myself, but I didn't want to do it on just a square. So what I did was, or what I am in the middle of doing is trying to get this. I drew this on the iPad, right? And I imported that, and I'm just trying to get that into a state where I can kind of run a tessellation on it and then see if I can extract the triangles in a nice way to experiment with on the weekend. I won't have time to finish that on stream. I'm not going to stay around for too much longer, but if I get the thing going, then I can finish that tonight, and tomorrow I'll be working on that. And then I hope, anyway, on Monday I could show that on the stream, at least as a progress report of some kind. So that's what I've been up to. I'm losing a little bit of gas myself. Getting a little tired, you know. But I'll just do this for now. Right, so this desk idea is quite dependent, at least the visual approach that I want is quite dependent on how smoothly I can make a little bit of a setup to actually bend all the rod and weld it reasonably quick. So as a like I'm just gonna make a smaller experiment just to see how practical it actually is. I think that's kind of important at this stage in the game. I don't want to go full steam ahead if it's not really going to be practical. So just get your machoke to bend it. Yeah. If only. So it's not like, so the bending part of it, like the strength required to bend it won't be the problem, but the patience to bend and weld it all is probably going to be the bigger thing, as well as being fairly organized. When you have randomly shaped triangles, it's hard to assemble them appropriately if you don't, say, label them carefully one at a time. So this weekend is really just a workflow experiment, but I don't want to do it with just a simple shape. I want something kind of cool. This A shape isn't cool enough, but if I get the function built, that'll be better. Basically, that's the hope anyway. So. Basically, keep doing this lazily. Output to desk is fine, although I'm actually not even, I'm just gonna output it to the REPL. Yeah. How did I do this? Oh yeah, I can do this. I could do resize to the max dimension. I want to be 10 inches only, so it's much smaller than the drawing import size. I only want the first path from the list. I want to drop the Z coordinate. I want to put all of those. Oh, I have to map actually this. Map V into vector. Wait, is that going to work? Does that work the way I think it is? Brain fart here. Yeah, it does. Okay, good. Yeah, so I resize it. Move to origin. That's also what I want to do. Resize it and then move to origin for simplicity. Take the first path, turn it 2D, pop it back into the vector. Oh, I also have to here I have to map V float Is that gonna work? Is that right? Might be right, might not be, don't know. Let's see. Oop, wireframe sketch. Yeah, okay. This float is not correct because I have to map it one more time technically, don't I? Oh, wait, what? What went wrong here? Oh, I have to map V drop last. Where did I go wrong here? Oh, this is not what I need either. Let's try that. Oh, did I accidentally redef it with the wrong? All right, come on. Okay. Now we can map V drop last. Let's make sure that works. Good. Maybe this will work. Okay, those are all floats and they're all two-dimensional. Perfect. There we go. And they're already in vectors, which is nice. Wait a second, what did I just do? I don't want to close the let there, I want to close it here. Whew. Okay. Now taking this, I should, if I just do the data transfer the manual lazy way, copy paste my old friend, and just put that inside here. That works as a start, and it signifies that this other library I need to wire up properly so that I'm not doing anything ridiculous like this. Or I'm doing fewer ridiculous things anyway. Right? Like the real reason I'm not just pulling the pencil library in as into the desk design directly is because the pencil thing I have only working in Clojure currently. It runs a shell command, it does file manipulation, and the Clojure script side of that, that file manipulation stuff doesn't work from the browser REPL, so it's not quite as easy to work with in the REPL environment. So that's why I've got a Clojure REPL here and this in its own library. But I need to, or I would like to figure out some way to bridge that gap intelligently so that I can just, in the future, if I want sketch-based design work, I could have it as a dependency and not worry about Clojure or Clojure script compatibility issues. I want to build that in appropriately. Yeah. I don't know exactly how to go about that. Part of me thinks I should implement my own bitmap tracer in Clojure, which I could then compile into Clojure script, and then I can run it either way. I have a paper that I could read through and try to figure out how to implement it, which seems like it'll be fun, but I don't know how to do it yet. It'll just take a bit of time. Okay. Where did I go wrong now? What? Those numbers are not the right numbers. Okay. All right. I got about 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna have to get going. You know what? This is not my best day. I'll be the first to admit. Not my smartest, not my most productive. Just a little bit of a mess all around, if I do say so myself. Hello? Oh, it broke completely. What's wrong now? Just debug heavy day happens from time to time. Yeah, you're not wrong. I guess, so realistically, I think the reason I feel like it's not a great day is in part because I wasn't expecting to have to deal with problems. I was kind of expecting to just casually go about making some diagrams and messing around with the 3D stuff. And instead I got into some admittedly self-caused bugs, right? And it just wasn't what I was expecting to happen, which, I mean, I guess is the definition of bugs, right? What's this? Oh. Getting messages too. Well, you know, not a waste of a day. I won't go far as to say that. Just didn't feel like my best. That's really all. All right, what did I do wrong now? Let's check the console. Polygon is not iSQLable, eh? I don't know what I was trying to do there. Hey, there we go. All right, there we go. All right, so we've got the first trace in there. Now I would like to see if I could run a Delaunay triangulation over that. Tries equals triangles from Delaunay / triangulate. I have to like sound that word out so I spell it correctly every time. Like some kind of second grader or something. But instead of the points here, I actually want to do tries. Is this going to work the way I want it to? Yeah, let's map is that gonna work? It should work. And then here I actually just want to do thread last svg/g, just, oh no, sorry, this should be actually like this, into a group with no style, that whole thing. That element gets mapped through the style element, and that should draw a bunch of triangles. Whoa, it does, but it's not totally correct. I do the same thing with the word Wednesday almost every time. Yeah, like you kind of, almost in your head, you pronounce it Wednesday so that you get that D in there. Oh, right. So I forgot that the Delaunay implementation I've got does not handle concave situations at all. So if I instead try, this will probably slow way down, but it's worth a try for fun. Clip ears, A shape. Let's be patient for a minute. Oh yeah, right. Namespace. Namespace, thank you very much. So this successfully compiled. This is probably gonna, yeah, issue a slowdown warning. I'm gonna let it run for a second because I am getting low on time, and if it doesn't take too long, it might be cool to see if it actually renders in any useful way. If not, I actually do have to think about how to approach this. I'm sure there's a way. I just have to think a little harder. And it might actually mean the test I do might, in a lame sort of way, end up just being making a little square or a little rectangle with triangles. I want to go and make an actual sample of some kind. So if I can't triangulate anything complicated, maybe I'll do a circle. That would still be kind of neat anyway. Maybe like that's a cool like hot plate or something. Well, it is definitely extremely slow. Yeah, this really isn't even close to the correct thing to do. It did render though. Goodness, it's dragging, huh? Okay, so I know exactly why it's dragging. So, yeah. Just Firefox is complaining. Just ignore that. I'm not worried about it for now. I'll explain why it's dragging. It's not a surprise to me. It is entirely because of how I have a rather naive implementation. So this wireframe sketch, actually if I count it, it's a polygon with 119 points on it, right? So the Clojure algorithm that I've implemented takes that whole list, splits it into, it takes that whole list and it starts at the first point in the list and checks, it tries to take a triangle away and accumulate it into its own list. The first one should almost always work, but there's a few conditions it has to check. It has to check if the angle is acute, and it has to check if any line segments cross it. And then for every subsequent triangle it attempts to take, it has to check if the angle is fine, if there's any crossing points, or if any other points are inside that triangle. If any of those things fail, it has to not take that triangle and try to take the next available triangle. The way I've implemented it has no optimizations whatsoever on those conditional checks. So it will slow way down the more points you put into a polygon. And for any polygon that approximates, that comes from a trace, to get a nice approximation of something I drew on my iPad, it's going to need quite a few points. And so naturally, if I'm just doing a naive ear clipping implementation, which is exactly what I've done, you're going to see it chug just because I've not optimized away any checks of any kind. So yeah, that's just the thing. Now, I haven't looked into how to optimize it yet. I am confident that there are better ways to do it. I just haven't done them yet, right? Because I originally did this for the polygon union approach for small pointed, like for polygons in the range of, let's say, up to, say, 30 points on a polygon. And with that, for statically compiled documents, it was reasonably fine. I didn't really anticipate ever doing it live in the browser like this, but because I have ended up doing it or wanting to do it a little more frequently, it will soon be a thing to optimize. But I'm not surprised that it's chugging. And probably so there's probably two things to do: optimize the ear clipping a little bit, and then also add a more robust Delaunay triangulation implementation that does work on concave polygons with holes in them. And once I have that, then even the polygon union function can be improved. The reason I went with clip ears is because it was relatively straightforward and worked on concave things if you implemented it properly. So as you can see, it took forever, but it did give me triangles. Like, this is a valid tessellation of the polygon. This polygon is validly cut into all these triangles. Now, it is horrible because they're almost all really, really jagged, but it did work. But the Delaunay one, which is way faster too, doesn't currently work for the little jog in here. See that? It incorrectly fills that with triangles as well, because it doesn't have a concept of inside outside. It just has a concept of points. So, you know, got to change that too. I think the Delaunay one is actually not that hard. I think what you can do is kind of give it one extra cell, which is like it extends infinitely in all directions away from the shape, and then that can be used as a check for inside outside or something like that. But I have to refresh my memory on that too. But what I was originally trying to think of doing and I'm not gonna have time for this anymore. I was gonna make some kind of cool looking design, like this I can show. May as well draw kind of what was in my brain. Something kind of like this. So if this is the desk ornament that I'm thinking of making, it would be cool to make some kind of 3D sculpture, like an abstract sort of thing that had sort of a three-dimensional quality to it, like that. And then just this looks like a Harry Potter hat. That's not what I meant to do. You know, it just is like a weirdly shaped, malformed electricity pylon or something like that, you know? So that was the idea. This was merely a test, and this was something I forgot was still an issue. So back to the drawing board on that one. But that is going to be okay. There's always a way forward. And I always still have a few ideas up in here. So I am going to call it a day today, tackle a few little ideas tonight yet, and I'm keen to do something on the weekend with this. So I do hope I'll have something to show for it next week in terms of concrete effort. I'll just have to see how it goes. But that's going to be all for me for the day and for the week, actually. It's a Friday. I'm going to have a good weekend. I hope everyone who has tuned in has a good weekend too. Hey, Mike, have a great weekend yourself. Glad you got to tune in to a couple. Stay safe. Hey, I'll stay safe. You stay safe too, okay? Have some good workouts. Have some good relaxing times on days on your weekend. And as always, Mike, thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate it when you're in the chat. So maybe I'll see you around again, okay? And no pressure, obviously, but, you know, have a good one. All right, I'm going to head out.